Imagine spending 8 hours making a video and then having an ugly thumbnail so that video never gets any clicks or views except maybe from your grandma and some of her friends. A thumbnail is the gateway to your video. No attractive thumbnail means no views, no clicks, no subs. So good thumbnails are literally key to being able to get your videos seen and scaling your channel. But how do you create great thumbnails that are going to get the click? Today I'm going to show you exactly that, and we're going over how to create YouTube thumbnails in Canva that get more views and clicks. I'm going to be sharing loads of golden nuggets in this tutorial and secret strategy tips. You're not going to want to miss any of it. And why can you even trust me on this? We are going to be basing this off of a video that has a very high impressions click-through rate. I already have a pretty high impressions click-through rate for my channel, but what does that even mean? Before we begin, we first need to understand what impressions are and what an impressions click-through rate is. Your impressions rate, according to YouTube, is how many times your video thumbnails were shown to viewers, but it includes only impressions on YouTube, not on any other external websites or apps. Your impressions click-through rate is how often people click on your thumbnail after seeing it. So after they see it on their homepage, maybe they're watching a video and it's on the suggestions on the side, how often people actually click on it and watch makes up the impressions click-through rate. YouTube impression rates range anywhere from 2 to 10%, and it really depends on the channel. 10% being very high. Click-through rates also can be a bit complex because as YouTube tries to push out a video more, maybe they're trying to see other people outside of your niche that maybe will like the videos, it can decrease in that way. So you have to take it with a grain of salt. You can see what your impressions and impressions click-through rate are by going to your YouTube studio, clicking on analytics, and then heading over to reach. You'll also see words that say see more, and there you can get a breakdown per video of what your impressions and click-through rate are for each of your YouTube videos individually. My average impressions click-through rate is 6%, which is quite high. And like I said, we're gonna be basing this video off of a video that has an over 11% impressions click-through rate. So let's dive into my tips and my step-by-step tutorial so we can increase those rates for you and get you making beautiful click-worthy thumbnails. What's up, it's Danie. I'm so glad that you're here. I help people build lives of freedom by building scalable brands on YouTube. Are you sure that your channel is optimized yet? Be sure to check out my free step-by-step training that helps you set up and optimize your YouTube channel. I provide so much value in this free training and even templates that you can use to help build up your channel. I got you. All right, let's head over to Canva. Now that we're in canva.com, you are going to come over here and click create a design and type in YouTube thumbnail, and you'll see it pop up here, and you'll click on that and that will have the perfect dimensions to make this thumbnail. Now for me, I did this one time and then I make all my thumbnails and I keep them in the same place. So every time I need a new thumbnail, I can just come up here, click duplicate page, and then change the text. But we're gonna go through all the steps to be able to make something like this. You're going to be able to use Canva free for this, but I always recommend using Canva Pro if you're building a business so you can have more of the functions that I'm going to be talking about and avoid any copyright issues in your business. There is a link to a free 30-day Canva Pro trial up above or down below this video. Be sure to watch my quick Canva tips and tricks tutorial for beginners if you aren't very familiar with Canva. That's going to be really helpful before getting into this tutorial. Now, before we create this thumbnail, like I said, we are basing it off of this thumbnail here that has a really high impressions click-through rate. And there are certain elements that we need to make sure that our thumbnails have that we're going to learn about today. The first thing is you want to make sure that your thumbnail has several words that excite your viewers and share what the video is about. You already have your title, so this does not need to be the same thing as the title. I recommend using anywhere from 3 to 8 words to get your viewers excited to click on your video. And then the next thing you want to have is a photo of what you're teaching about. This is really key. People like to see an example of what you're teaching, especially if it's a comparison like this video. So not only do I have a picture of the camera that I'm talking about, but I have a picture showing the two different cameras that I'm comparing and what they look like, which is enticing people to click on because they want to see the comparison between the two. You're also going to want a photo of yourself that shows some emotion. Photos of faces, according to studies that have been done, they get more clicks. The last thing you want to make sure is that it's branded. It has your branding colors and your logos. So let's dive into all the different ways you can make a beautiful thumbnail just like this one. So now that you have your dimensions correct, you'll see in Canva, these are all the elements that we're going to be needing. There are also really wonderful free templates that you can use. If you want to click on one and make a thumbnail in that way, you can, but I recommend doing it the way I'm going to show you. That way you know how to really make it your own. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some text. You're going to click on text right here and click add a heading. You can also just click T on your keyboard and that will add text as well. Now we are going to copy this same thumbnail as before, so I'm going to put my text as the best webcam. Words that are capitalized, they stand out a lot more, so I recommend making your thumbnails with capitalized and bolded text. I am using Oswald, but you can find any other fonts that are nice and bold and big to be able to make really easy to read and stand out text. I really also like this League Spartan. Let's give this one a go for this video. But remember though to stick with the same font for all of your videos so that your thumbnails have a universal theme and they're easy to pick out amongst your competitors. There are two ways that I like to make text stand out, two options that you have. The first one, you can go to Effects and you can come over here and click on the Splice effect and change the offset to 0 and you can increase the thickness. From there, I could then change the color. Maybe I want the inside color to be blue and the outside, I come up here to text color and I can change it in that way. Now, I think this looks really nice, but I prefer to have my text look like this. And so what you can do is you can go to Effects. If you want to add a little shadow to it, I think that always looks nice. And then you're going to either click R to add a rectangle, or you can go to Elements and you can search for a rectangle and add one in that way. You can either pick this rectangle with the hard edges, or you can do one with soft edges as a border as well. And we can look at the comparison between the two. So if I want to have soft edges, I could pull this out and then do it on the top and bottom. Or if I want to have the hard edges, then I could pick this one. So it's up to you. I always kind of like the hard edges, but I used to use the soft edges. I like to have it be white. Our background's already white, so let me quickly just change this background color so you can see what I'm doing. Let's just go to a nice kind of plain gradient. Okay, and then what I'll do is I will go grab this background. I'm going to click Command C, Command V, or you can always right click, copy, and right click paste. And then I'm going to add this to the bottom one in position. I will make it go backward, and then I need to move this one over. You can see these pink lines will help me center everything. And it looks great. And then what I can do is I can actually highlight all over this and click group. So that way it kind of stays together and I can make it bigger and smaller. So now we have the best webcam. I'm going to put the text on the left-hand side because when you go into YouTube, when you hover over things within YouTube, these little elements and buttons will pop up on the right-hand side. So it's helpful to have your text be on the left and have the picture of you be on the right because it doesn't matter if it gets covered up as much. The next thing that we need to add is a photo of what you're teaching about. So I'm going to go over to Elements and I'm going to look up webcams. You can see there are options if you want to see photos or you want to see graphics. So I'm just going to pull in, let's say this is the webcam that I'm talking about. I could use this one and add it into my thumbnail, and that looks really cute. If I want it to be in the back of the rectangle there, the wording, I could always click backward and make it go behind, but I think it looks better forward. Also, if you're comparing things, I found that people really love to see what you're comparing. It's going to entice them to click on it. So like you can see with this thumbnail, I took screenshots of me with the Logitech C920 and a screenshot of me with the Logitech C922, and I added that in, those two images. So if you wanted to do that, you could take those images and you could upload them here and drag them in to your thumbnail. I am going to just copy this. I'm going to add it in here to save some time because I'll show you how to add pictures here in a second. How I added the Logitech C920 and C922 text is the same way. I added a rectangle and I had it cover some of my photo. And I made it a little bit transparent, and I can do that by coming over here and changing the transparency. And I can come up here and change the color. Remember to use your branding colors. And then I put a T for text and I added the text in of what these two cameras were. All right, same thing. I'm going to hover over these and group them together. Now I have photos of what I'm teaching about and comparing. Now, the next thing we need to do is add a photo of yourself in this right-hand corner. And the more emotion that fits what you're talking about, the better. So you can come over to Uploads. I always recommend taking a photo of yourself when you're filming, or if you have some photos that do well, you can just do that. For now, I'm just going to use this photo because it's one I have right here. And you're going to come over here to Edit Image. and I love to use this background remover effect. You can only use this if you have Canva Pro. So if you don't, no worries. You can literally just Google background remover and it will allow you to do the same thing. And then you can save that video and upload it to Canva. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger and add it into the corner. I think bigger always looks nice and it kind of pulls people in. There was a study by a university that showed that Instagram photos with faces were more likely to get likes, and they really just draw in people more. And so that's why you see all these thumbnails with people with crazy faces, because it works. Now, the next hack I want to show you is you're going to come over here and click Edit Image, and you're going to go to the shadow effects and click on glow. And this is totally optional, but I just love it. I think it really looks nice. Click on glow again to change the settings, change blur to 0, transparency to 100, and increase the size, and you'll see it makes a really awesome border around your photo. Now, again, like I said, it's totally optional, but I just think it looks great with a little white border. Something I found out recently you could do is you can actually add another shadow effect. So if I click out of here, I click back on this photo and click Edit Image, I can click on glow again, and it's going to add another shadow onto this photo, which is pretty cool. Oh, what happened? I'll click on it again, and it will add another shadow on. I think it looks really wonderful. So maybe I can even change the color of it. So that's a little hack for you to add some flair to your photo. Now, something I also recommend for you to do is click Edit Image and increase the brightness of your photo if it's a little bit dark. Brighter photos that are a little more saturated stand out more and are going to help you again get more clicks. So I can increase the saturation a bit, not too much, but just a little. I could even increase the contrast. And so really make sure that your picture is easy to see and it pops. So you can adjust the settings there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a better background. So what I like to do is I like to go to photos, and I'm going to type in webcam again. I like to show what I'm talking about in the video as the background. So I could pick any of these. I like to use real photos. So maybe I want to use this photo. I'm going to click it and right click and click replace background. And I can change the dimensions by double clicking it and kind of moving it around. And then what I will do is I'll come over here in this right hand corner and decrease the transparency. Now, it's usually going to be on default on white, and so when you decrease the transparency, it'll be more white, but I think it actually looked nice using kind of a darker color here. Again, I'm going to make sure I'm using my brand colors for this, and I think that looks nice. Now, branding is the last part of making a really strong thumbnail. You always want it to be clear and obvious which thumbnails are yours, and you can help build brand awareness by using the same fonts and colors like I said before. Make sure you check out my Canva tutorial and I show you how to add your branding guide colors. What I like to do for all my videos is I will add a rectangle. So again, remember, click R on your keyboard or go to Elements and add a rectangle. And I will add my branding color in the corner here. I'm going to kind of just add an angle to this, and I'm going to position this to the back. I can change it a little bit like this. And then I'm going to make the color yellow because it's my brand color, and it kind of just helps my video to pop a little bit more. I'm also going to go to my logos, which again, you can add. I show you how to do that in that video for my Canva tutorial. I'm going to add in my logo in the corner, again, increase that brand awareness. And there we have it. We have a beautiful thumbnail that's ready to get some clicks and drive more views and subs to our channel. Was this video helpful for you? If it was, it's so helpful for me. If you can give it a like, be sure to subscribe. And while you wait for next week's video, be sure to check out these other helpful videos to help you grow your brand online. And I'll see you next time.